Lo and behold, John and Yoko surface in Cambridge, not at all deported from the United States. What are you doing here? I guess we should do that for starters. Yoko?
Well, I'm here because I'm a woman, and it's just I'm very interested to meet other sisters, you know. And meeting is really a very important thing. It's better than writing 1,000 words, you know. It's like sort of, it's important. And it was very exciting, matter of fact, you know. I got a lot out of it, I think.
What did you get out of it? What have the sessions been like?
Found that women are very powerful, and they have sort of an immense power that's hidden in them. They had to hide it in this society because it's a male society, and they were taught to hide their power. They were taught to look helpless and all that, you know. And now they're sort of bringing it out. And one thing I want to say to the brothers is that don't be scared or don't be threatened by the power that we're bringing out. Because it's like we were icebergs, you know, with the sort of the whole bottom is hidden in the water. And that hidden power, when it's offered to the society, it's going to be a great force. We're offering something to society to use, you know, and they can use it, and it's great, you know.
How have you felt about this conference here and about your involvement, John, in the women's movement, as it were, or the feminist ideas?
Well, my involvement started when I met Yoko. Although at that time there was no word for it, feminism, you know, but it was two artists living together, and she happened to be female, and she wanted equal time, you know, equal space, and that started a sort of dialogue between us, which went on, and then the sort of women's movement came out around just about a year or two after we'd met, and it was sort of naturally related to it. And I think there are what quotes conservatives here, but there are the fringe groups too who are saying, is this important to be here with these conservatives or liberals or whatever you call them? But they're all here, you know, and the point about this thing is it's the first International Feminist Conference. And in that way, it's historic and important. The fact that they're all trying, you know, and they're all dialoguing, and they're all, you know, the sort of radicals are saying, well, what about this? And the others are saying, well, you know, in our country we have to do this. I mean, the people here from India, Norway, New Zealand, and the difference between, say, a radical New Zealander and a radical American is immense, whether female or male. You know, I mean, just the country differences is enough. So you can't even pin the word radical or liberal or conservative on any of them.
All women organization, by nature, is radical, you see. In this society it is, you know. Men in this society are also victim of the whatever society, male society, you know. So they are going through a fantastic change, and it is a painful thing for them too, you know.
Without getting too personal, what changes has John gone through? I mean, how has John's consciousness been transformed?
I know that you might think it's very trivial, but he makes biscuits and boiled rice, for instance. And it was sort of like, I mean, you know, in our household, nobody has to do it. You know, luckily we don't have to do it. But the fact that he's learning what it is to cook, you know, cooking is like art, you know. I mean, it's a very interesting experience. So, in a way, men, because of the social setup and convention, that they were deprived from the pleasure of learning how to cook, you know, learning how to knit, you know, whatever, those things. They're deprived from it too, you see. And now he's starting to open up that side, which is beautiful.
You a good cook?
Man's work is never done, my dear.
No, I just wanted to do it, you know, so I've only actually cooked one meal. And
I cook every week.
Well, I know there's a lot of guys can cook, you know. It's just something but most guys can't.
I really can't cook, but I cook anyway.
Yeah, well, that's how you learn, you know. I just started trying to do it, you know, because it's like, you know, all the females are brought up not knowing, say, for instance, how to work tape recorders or fix their bike or whatever it is. And men are brought up not knowing how to cook or look after themselves. You know, and if you ever sort of split from your partner or leave home, it's like only knowing half of what's going on. You know, if nobody was around, I'd just probably starve to death.
The Beatles wash their own dishes?
I don't know anything about the Beatles.
Aside from, I mean, our level of sharing work and stuff, I mean, do you feel that you've been going through changes about your own role, your own relationship to Yoko, your relationship to other women, to other men?
Yeah, it's completely changed. It's been a process of 4 or 5 years. And it was like having one eye shut, you know. Once you start acknowledging, yes, that women are oppressed slaves, and then you start singing in those terms, it's just an eye-opener, and you can never go back, even though you still, intellectually you can grasp it. But when it starts sort of happening all over your body, you know, that's when the changes really come. Although, you know, I'm not we're not quotes, completely liberated couple, and we still go through a lot of struggle. And it's usually for space, you know.
But it's a good struggle because, I don't even know if it's a good struggle. I'm just saying that it's a struggle. But as John said, you know, we can't go back, so we're doing it, you know.
Are you here in the U.S. of A to stay, or what's the status now of your, the U.S. government's war with you?
Legally, Yoko has a green card. I think it means resident alien or something. She'd already had one from the past because of being educated here and having an American husband. I'm still sort of on the wanted list, and we're appealing that. You know, the lawyers are appealing that, and that's what it is now. I mean, it couldn't go on and on, you see, through the courts, up and up and up. So it's really miniature harassment, you know. I mean, just keeping us tied up in court all the time, or appealing and paying lawyers and all that jazz.
I understand you're creating your own country.
Yes, well, we have, you see. We did announce the birth of a nation called Newtopia. And
Newtopia.
Newtopia, like the new utopia, you know, and there's an embassy in New York where people can write to and all that, but, you know, it's just all that. But everybody, if they decide that they are the member of Newtopia, they are the member of Newtopia, and automatically becomes an embassy or, you know, ambassador.
Has Newtopia any sort of diplomatic relations with other countries?
Well, it's a conceptual country. When we first announced it, it was the 1st of April. And it was our answer to the immigration people's press conference the week before. And we asked for everybody who's in anybody who declares they're in Utopia or declares their awareness of it is a member, and everybody's an ambassador. So in our declaration, we asked for diplomatic immunity as ambassadors of Utopia in the UN. And we have a few other members of Utopia who are approaching the UN from that angle.
What is the concept? Can you talk a little bit more about what Newtopia is?
Well, it came out of Yoko's artwork, conceptual art, you know, where the idea is more important than the object. And this is something she had around for years. We were just waiting the right time to bring it out. And see, the country, if it has no land, there's nothing to fight for, you know. There's no boundaries, there's no lines to be drawn. No.
Imagine.
Exactly, that's where I got Imagine from, her too. So, you know, well, I'm tripping off, but it's the opposite of what people think. I got probably more from her than she did from me.
Are you doing any music now? Are you working on any musical projects?
I don't work on musical projects now. I either write songs or don't, or then I go and record them. But it's almost like it's getting to be work, you know. It's ruining the music, so I just do it when I feel like it. And I get more interested in other things, because it's, I don't know, it's like after you leave school and you don't want to read a book. I'm almost like that about it, although I still dig it, you know. It just gets to be that, you know. Every time I strap the guitar on, it's good, you know, the same old jazz, so I just feel like breathing for a bit.
What are the projects you're working on now? What are you into?
Well, we've been videotaping these last few days, And we've been showing some stuff on cable TV in New York, public access TV. Because it's simple, it's easy, there's no adverts, and it doesn't have to be the big production, the show special, trying to deal with money and, the Lennon's put on a special, all that jazz. And you can just tape and stick it on, doesn't matter whether the quality's great or bad, or it's just really loose, and we're into that at the moment.
Are you getting some good feedback on that from other people?
I think that I sort of, as a friend, I think, take pride in what he sort of discovered this video thing and for himself, and he's sort of really getting into it. I think video is going to really be something, very soon. It's a real interesting media.
I asked you before about the Beatles as a slip because I said I wasn't going to ask you. I said to myself before I started, one thing I'm not going to ask him about is about the Beatles, but everybody, is buzzing with all these rumors and stuff about people getting back together again, singing again, doing an album. John Lennon spotted in Los Angeles at Ringo's Star, this sort of taping, album session, this sort of thing. What is happening on that front?
Well, you see, had we all still been living in London, we probably would been on each other's sessions. Like the first album I put out on my own had no title, which is a nuisance. John Lennon Plastic Ono Band. Well, George was on that, or was it Ringo? And then George was on Imagine. Whoever was around was on. There's no... When the Beatles, quote, split, it didn't mean to say that we'd never play in each other's sessions or anything. But then I moved here, so there was less of that. And I think there was a lot going on between George and Ringo and Klaus and Nielsen, and everybody's goofing off in London. But it just so happened the three of us were in L.A., and Ringo was doing a session, and it was natural for us all to go down to the session, I don't live in the sessions as much as, say, George and Ringo do, or Nielsen, and there's a whole gang of them that just sort of international, London and LA and whatever.
Now Jamaica.
And Jamaica, they live in the studio, practically, when we were down there was Chris Christopherson, Jim Keltner, I think he was working, just everybody, it just goes on, and that's how they live all the time. So they're always on each other's session. I don't do it so much, but I was there, and it was natural to go to the session, and of course that was three of us, and it had been a few years, and it starts, and the radio station rings the record place, the recording studio, and says, are they there? And he says, well, some of them are, and that was the start of the whole ball game again.
But it's not, there's no plans officially now to reunite.
It's when the Marx Brothers get together again, and the Beatles will get together again. Let me finish. Okay. Just imagine how it'd be. It's using the Byrds get together is probably not too relevant. But, just anybody who thinks about it or wants it, just imagine the Beatles getting together again. Whatever they did would not be good enough, because everybody has this incredible dream about how it was in the 60s, and by the time it gets to the 80s, it'll be even bigger. But it would never be the same. Whatever we did would never be good enough. It could never be the same. It's just a dream. It's a real dream.
Which I think someone once said is over.
Yeah, right. I added an amendment to that. The dream's over, but we haven't woke up yet. That's how we live, But when it gets into the sort of magazine or on the radio, people say, oh, that's what you're doing. Please keep doing that forever so as we can get it adjusted in our heads as to what you are doing. A friend of ours who is still always with his little black book